Round 1. Fight!
What is going on, everybody, in BW Sports One Land? This is your boy DaLion, and it's another time for Combat Zone. That's right, folks. Remember our wonderful partners, Rockstar Realty, 317-503-8322. Buying or selling a home, talk to Shawn at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322. Driving for Dyslexia, 317-643-1105. If you're looking for a wonderful non-for-profit organization to help in research for teachers, for resources, for kids with dyslexia, Driving for Dyslexia is the place you want to check out. 317-643-1105. If you want to look this elite, that's right. You know who to call. Elite Performance, 765-499-1005. Zach Dirr over there is getting me in beach bod ready, folks. 765-499-1005. And Aries Academy and Aries Elite Sports Vision Training. Check them out on the web, because I don't want you to just call them. I want you to check them out on the web. Get your eye vision testing. And it's crazy, the things that they got. The technology is there. The want is there to help you. Check them out. www.aries-academy.com. All right, folks. UFC 259 is one night away. And who better to co-host a prediction show than my man from Vegas, Rafael Esparza? What is happening, brother?
Not much was going on.
Oh, it's Friday. It's the end of the week, the end of the work week. Stocks are plummeting left and right. Well, for some. Stocks are plummeting left and right because it's Friday. It's red day, obviously, throughout the week. But this here, folks, is the predictions to get you back some money that you'll also through the week by betting on UFC 259 over at mybookie.ag. Remember, BW Sports 1 is the promo code. Gets you a 50% deposit match and a $10 free play. Might as well use it on one of these three title fights we got going on tomorrow night. Raphael, I'm looking over the card, the full card here. And, I seen something very interesting. I see the prelims being highlighted, or headlined, I should say, by Casey Kinney and Dominic Cruz. Not going into detail much on this fight because we really want to dive into those three title fights. But to me, I think Dominic Cruz has a glass jaw now. He's not able to withstand as much pressure as he used to. And I think he's just in another fight over his head in this one. Do you have anything to add on this headline of the prelims?
I mean, it's a prelim fight. That's how stacked this card is. I mean, if this one's the closing out the prelims, I agree with you on his chin, his age. I think the UFC mileage, if you want to call it, is catching up to him. So I agree with you. Casey Kennedy's probably the smart one. I think he opened up like minus 135. So there was value on that. I think last time I checked, he's minus 130. Yep. If you like Dominic Cruz, I say you hurry up and get him. Try to get that plus money. I'm waiting to see what that happens. So it's going to be interesting, but it's a stacked card. I mean, the early prelims, you have Tim Elliott and Jordan Espinosa. They're closing out the early prelims. Right. And then one of my favorite fights that's on the card, it's an early prelim, Sean Brady versus Jake Matthews. And I'm sorry, anytime you have a last name Brady, I'm betting it. I don't care. So it could be Marsha Brady versus Jake Matthews. And I'll probably still bet Marsha Brady. So,
ooh, my nose.
Yeah, it's interesting. This card is really, really, really stacked.
Yes, it is. And it's honestly probably one of the best cards overall that we've seen in a while from the UFC. Now, granted, we've had a couple of the main event cards come out lately. The big boys have went at it. Last fight, we heard Daddy Dana wasn't too happy with the main event big guys. The week before that, you had Derek Lewis with the big upset that I cashed in on. But this card itself, like you said, is stacked, and it's the best card that I've seen in a long time.
I agree. And listen, I'm sorry. I know Dana White listens because he's a big fan of your shows. But last fight card was a complete F. That just shows me sometimes you don't need to have a card every weekend. Take the weekend off, rest the fighters, rest the production people, give them a weekend off. It was horrendously bad. I mean, one knockout through the whole card. I don't know how many cards got canceled. I think I had more people in my living room watching college hoops than there were fights scheduled. That just proves to me that there's some days you just shouldn't have an event. Some weekends, take the weekend off. I mean, you have a great weekend. You can take the weekend off and say, hey, no fights this weekend, but get ready for UFC 2. You can market it any way you want. Last weekend's fight card was a complete disaster, and it's a complete F. It was almost as worse as the season finale of WandaVision. Both of them deserve a big fat F.
Hey, by the way, I meant to check in. Who showed up?
Pretty much nobody. It was a complete fat F. A complete fat F. I mean, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to, because a lot of people probably haven't watched it yet, but they were trying to see, we're going to break like how The Mandalorian Season 2 and Luke Skywalker came out, and I got a Star Wars Woody because I thought it was great action on that. But WandaVision.
All right. Well, if you haven't noticed yet, this is right before we get into the UFC 259 card. Raphael just sound out some AEW action for what's the card called?
Revolution.
I believe it's next week.
No, it's this Sunday.
This Sunday, pay-per-view for AEW. And check out those on Raphael's page, which he'll tell you. He'll link it out here soon. Or tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, Super Kicking It with Steven has those odds, and he'll be sharing them right there on BW Sports 1. Now, it is time to jump in to the triple threat title matches. Let's start by going to the first one on the card at 135. Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling.
You can just call him Funk Master because that's his nickname. Just call him Funk Master Sterling. This fight right here, I'm excited for. I'm excited for the Megan Anderson Nunez, and of course Israel Sunday, which he comes out in his weigh-in eating pizza at his weigh-in because I don't know, it's classic. But I'm sorry, this bantamweight, and I love bantamweights, in boxing, flyweights, man, because you get action. I'm sorry, you get nonstop action, and this fight right here screams action. That's why the line is pretty much pick 'em everywhere, either minus 110, minus 120. I saw both DraftKings and FanDuel minus 115. We have Peter Yan at minus 120, Funk Master minus 110. So it's a toss-up fight, and it's probably going to be that way all the way till these guys get into the octagon. It's just a really, really close fight. If I had to put your money on it, because my wife has not given my allowance yet, I'm still really impressed with how Sterling took care of Sandhagen in his last fight. I was really impressed with the round one submission. I mean, it was a blink of an eye that he got rid of that fight. So I love Peter Yan fighting. He's small, he's stocky, he's got a great chin. He knows how to duck away from the jabs. I want to say Sterling wins this one, but it would not shock me whoever wins this fight. And I think this fight probably goes deep into the fight as well. I don't think we're going to see a first round stoppage, knockout, submission, anything. I think we see this fight go into the second round, third rounds. It's just going to be an exciting fight. And this one screams fight of the night just because I think the action we're going to see in this fight.
I can't agree with you more on that. The action is definitely going to be jam-packed in this fight. This is kind of reminding me of Rocky IV because you got the Russian versus the United States guy. This has that feeling. You watch at the weigh-ins, you watch at the press conference.
Peter Yang's going to kill Sterling like Drago did on Apollo Creed?
Yeah, let's not. I must break you. Or if he dies, he dies. But this is going to, like you said, this is going to be action-packed. And honestly, I wouldn't put it past it being a quick fight. However, I'm with you. I'm leaning towards the championship rounds going into the 4th and the 5th round, and just seeing it all laid out there. You got only, I think it's a 4-inch reach advantage on Sterling's side. Leg reach is 1-inch advantage, not much there, but that 4-inch reach advantage on the stand-up kind of could throw a little kink into Jan's game plan. The winning percentage, you look at that, KO, obviously, knockout and TKOs. Jan's got them 47 to 11%. However, the submissions is flip-flop, and the decisions kind of are up for grabs at 47% apiece. Average fight time is right in it with each other, too. So these guys can go the distance. Obviously, 11 minutes is 3 rounds in the UFC because you fight 5-minute rounds. But I still think that both of these guys have the stamina to go into the 4th and 5th round and laying it all out there. So you're picking – who's your pick again? Let me make sure I got this right. If you had to put the Lions money on it.
Right now, I'm probably looking at Sterling, but I mean, the striking of Peter Yan. Granted, doesn't have the reach, but his punches will hurt a lot more than the Funk Masters. That's why he's got 7 KOs in that. So I'm leaning towards Sterling just because the only thing that scares me a little bit. I mean, Peter Yan had a hard time putting away Jose Aldo, and Jose Aldo's beyond his time, and he had a hard time putting that. That was in July of 2020 or June of 2020. I know that was in the summer. Yeah. I don't have it in front of me, but that one also went to the 5th round. Yep. It was, even though it was a KO TKO in the 5th round, but that one went in the 5th round. I agree with you. I really like the over/under round prop on this one, just because again I think we see this go into the champion rounds. The over/under is 3.5. The overs -130. So I'm not going to pick a winner. I'm going to say this one goes in the championship rounds. I think we see the 4th or 5th round. I'm going to take the over 3.5. I'll lay the -130.
I'm definitely taking the over 3.5 rounds. The one thing I want to look at, and this is kind of intriguing to me, the significant strikes landed per minute. Yan is 5.5. Sterling's about almost just underneath 5. So that means they're landing a very good significant strike once every 10 to 12 seconds in a round. So depending on what happens with that strength that you say that Yan has, could we see Sterling be knocked out? We could. My money is right now, give me the -110 Sterling and the over 3.5 rounds.
If you're Sterling, you have to use your grappling and jiu-jitsu and hit it on the ground, because if you're going to go toe-to-toe with him all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds, you're going to get connected. But when Peter will connect you at least 1 or twice, and that's the ones that can knock you down. So if you're Sterling Funkmaster, you want to get your breakdancing grooves down on the ground game and try to stop him from hitting you. And Peter Yan's got a head. He goes to the body like Rocky Balboa goes to the body. So that can also be something that you have to look out for.
And it's not going to be very easy for Sterling to get him down on the ground because he's got a hell of a defense when it comes to grappling.
Yes.
So moving on to the next fight in the title trilogy, champion Amanda Nunes going up against Megan Anderson, the Australian, the Aussie versus the Brazilian. What do you got for us, Raph?
I know everyone keeps on. I mean, she's gonna have to lose one of these times. I mean, she's the best female fighter in combat and MMA. Period. I mean, in all Strikeforce, Bellator, UFC, I have her as creme of the creme. Is she gonna lose this one? Nope. Is Megan Anderson gonna make this very interesting? Yes. Over under round prop 1.5. I mean, Megan Anderson's tall. She's probably gonna remind me when Holly Holm fought Rousey. Use her strength, use her length, her long legs, her long jabs. That's how she's going to keep this fight interesting. Is she going to win this fight? Let's face it. I mean, both of us agree. Probably not. I don't think I would think stranger things that happens. We have minus 910 on it. There's already, DraftKings has minus 1,000. William Hill has minus 1,100. So it fluctuates all over the place. Do I think I can guarantee you we'll be the big Amanda Nunes fans when she's an octagon? Because let's face it, everyone's going to want to take a shot at that 7-1 plus 650 whatever shot. But at the end of the day, it's Nunes. Here's another one. I like the over-under round prop. But the Megan Anderson is going to make it interesting. If she can fight like she did in February for long reach and get the quick TKO, I'm not saying she's going to TKO her, but she needs to use her strength and length to keep Amanda Nunes off her. I
agree wholeheartedly with you that Anderson is going to make this definitely a fight to watch, and it's definitely going to be interesting. And I'm going to say that, honestly, I believe that Megan Anderson is the toughest opponent that Amanda Nunes has faced in a long time. That right there is just making me skeptical about betting on Nunes because of the reach and that length that Megan Anderson shows, that height advantage. It's there. It's real. Can Nunes work inside? Can she get her to the ground? Can she use that power that we've all seen Nunes have against Anderson? I'm agreeing with you on the rounds because I think that it's definitely going to go over 1.5 rounds. I'd be willing to put my money. DaLion is calling it now, the biggest upset on the card this week. Megan Anderson will defeat Amanda Nunes and win the title. It's a long time coming, like you said. She is going to lose eventually. Is this the time? I believe so.
It'd be interesting because she had, like I said, the over-on round prop 1.5. You got to take it because their last 2 fights, Spencer went to the 5th round. Radime went to the 5th round. Their last 2 quick fights were against Holly Holm and Cyborg, which, no disrespect to both those two, but I'm not giving them as creme of the fights. I'm not saying Megan Anderson would beat Holly Holm or Cyborg and all that, but they're just 2 totally different fighters. And I agree with you on this one. Can Megan Anderson pull the upset? I don't see her pulling the upset in here. So we're going back to back on that one. Even Pennington back in 2018 gave Nunes some problems. I remember in the 2nd round and 3rd round. So if I'm Anderson, you need to watch those fights. I know Spencer just got panhandled all 5th rounds, but she made it to the 5th round. So that's something you have to look at. But if I was you and you like taking Megan Anderson, I would say hurry up and bet it. I can guarantee you we won't see no minus 1,000s. She'll probably close around minus $9, maybe minus $8.50. But if you like the underdog, like DaLion does, bet it now because that 6-1, 7-1 is not going to be there tomorrow.
Well, as soon as I say this, I'm sure my bookie is blowing up with bets coming in on Megan Anderson because they heard it here, folks. They heard it here.
We blocked all your friends, so we'll all
right. I only have very few friends. A lot of acquaintances, very few friends. Now, the one thing I'm worried about is Megan Anderson has only fought 3 times since 2019.
Yes.
Anderson has only fought 3 times since 2019, since that loss, and she's been on a 2-fight win streak. Amanda Nunes has been very active over the past 3 years. So will that be a factor as far as a benefit or a con against Nunes in this fight? I don't know, because in one sense, you can look at her being very well rested and ready for this fight. On another sense, it's that cage rust that we all have seen people that's taken a long time to get back in, and when it shows. So that will be a major factor in this fight.
I agree, and that's why, like I said, I think Anderson has a shot. She's going to hang around, but I just think the ring rust and the bright lights of fighting the GOAT. It could also penetrate that. We saw it, and we saw it last week in Canelo Alvarez boxing match. The guy, the limelight got him. He said it. He's like, you know what? You think you can fight someone and beat someone, the GOAT or a fan or one of the greatest, and then as soon as you see him walk down the aisle and he's got his music and fireworks and all that, it's a totally different ballgame.
This is very true. But I'm still Going to say Megan Anderson with the upset. When you have nothing to lose, sir, it makes you very dangerous.
I agree.
All right. Now, to the title fight of all title fights on the UFC 259 card. We have the assassin? The last style bender. My bad. Yes. Israel Adesanya going up the weight class as the 185 title holder, going up a weight class to fight the 205 light heavyweight title holder, Jan Blachowicz. What do you got?
I'm sorry. I mean, I got to take the underdog in this one. I think I've been telling people one big underdog wins in not one, not two, but 3 fights, and I'm taking Blachowicz. He's just a bigger guy. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, Israel's going to have problems trying to take him down. Even if he kicks or connects and Israel blocks it with his legs or arms, it's going to hurt. I mean, because he's a big guy. And then he says he's not going to gain that much weight coming in to after weigh-in. And Blachowicz usually gains anywhere between 10 to 15 pounds after weigh-in. That's unless for some unknown reason Israel takes care of him early, beats him in the first round. But the longer this fight goes, the longer it's going to be devastating for Adesanya, just carrying those kicks, carrying those punches that he's going to have to block. If this thing goes past the first round, then I think Blachowicz wins this one. I like the underdog on this. I took the plus 220. I took the plus 210. I don't know if I'm going to take 2-1 again. I got two nice bets. Unless for some reason a bucket load of money comes in and it moves back up. I like the well. I get they're both champs, but I like the heavier champ.
You know, for one of the very first times ever on our segments together, I'm going to completely agree with you on this fight. The only difference I have is I believe I'm going to take the under 2.5 rounds and Blachowicz winning and knocking him out, because that size advantage that he does have is going to be a major, major factor. And as we've seen over the past few weeks, that calf killer, well, that calf kill, I call it the calf killer because I've seen people's calves literally explode on their leg because of taking so many shots. And because Blachowicz has that power behind him, any punch, any kick, any significant strike that he lands, I'm with you 100%, is going to hurt Adesanya more than he has had to deal with in the past.
Yeah, and I just like the way Blachowicz fought when he fought Dominic Reyes. I mean, another southpaw, so you can't say, you can't use a southpaw excuse here, and maybe that's why Adesanya wins this fight, because he's a switch fighter, but he likes to fight more lefty, especially in the beginning of the fight. So he fought Dominic Reyes and just dominated Dominic Reyes. I mean, just his punches, Dominic Reyes had no answer for him, and his body shots, Dominic Reyes' sides looked like ground beef when I was getting ready to barbecue on Sunday compared to that one. So I just think size, my wife says it, all the girls I dated all the time say size does matter. And it's going to say, I think Blachowicz just dominates his fight, and he uses his physique. You said it. Those calf kicks are going to dominate the fight. Those body shots are going to hurt, even though maybe Israel blocks them, but they're going to finally get through because his arms and legs are going to be hurt in blocking.
Now, another thing, I will say that Adesanya, I think, is more elusive on his feet than Blachowicz has seen in a while against his opponents. That may be a major factor against Blachowicz in his game plan. However, like we have said, I just think the power behind Blachowicz' strikes is going to cause problems for Adesanya. Now, you look at, what is it? What do we say? It's plus 185 right now to Asanya's minus 225. I see a lot of money still coming back in, and I'm not in Vegas. I'm just totally hypothetically guessing here, but I can still see a lot of money coming in on Adesanya, which would bump Blachowicz's odds back up over 200. What do you think on that?
I can see that. I mean, people like to bet fan favorites, and I'm sorry, no disrespect to Blachowicz, but Israel Adesanya is a much bigger name in the game, so that's why I think that the money will probably continue. I don't see it going that much lower than, let's say, Israel, maybe 230. I don't see him going that as low as that one, but I still think he'll probably float around 235, 240, maybe up to back. I don't see back up to 250. I would be love to see 250 again, so I can get maybe some more $2 action on Blockowitz. But yeah, this one is probably going to stay close. But this one is very intriguing for just because of the size difference. I just can't remember a big any kind of a fight where you have one stocky guy, just muscular guy, and then you have, no disrespect to Asande, he's got great footwork, defensive skills. That's why he wins, and he's quick on his jab. But size, again, sorry people, size will matter on this one.
Trying to figure out what your wife still has you around for, then, sir, because we all know just because you're tall, there we go. Big shoes means big feet, and that's it.
Big socks too.
That's true. Big socks. Big hands equals big gloves. Really quick, let's talk about it. It is Combat. It is a pay-per-view Sunday. AEW Revolution. We just talked about it earlier. It's an interesting title fight between Moxley and what's his name? Help me out here. It's like the barbed wire. The barbed wire match.
It is kind of interesting, but if Kenny Omega, it is kind of interesting. But here's a guy like myself who has to watch this stuff, has to put odds on this stuff, so has to know the background of storylines, the background of what could carry over. And Jon Moxley is going to be a first-time dad, I think, in the next month or so. So normally people who are getting ready to have first-time kids in the wrestling world, they usually take maybe about a month off. This is the perfect time where Kenny Omega, who's minus $6 now to win this fight, to just brutally beat up Jon Moxley in this one, and so they can give him some time off, be a first-time dad, be at home and stuff like that. So I don't see an upset in this one just because I've been around handicapping and booking wrestling. I normally see what the storylines usually come up. So we could see some upsets come on this card. I mean, I think Matt Hardy is a live upset against Adam Page at plus 225. Chris Jericho and them, I can see them upsetting the Young Bucks. But this one, Omega and Moxley, minus 150, it should be probably a little bit higher, I think.
That right there is why I love talking to this man every week, because he gives you the inside scoop of why things go the way they do. Now, granted, it's a little bit easier, I should say, to do that in the wrestling world, the wrestling entertainment world, because there is scripts, because you just gave us one of the best little tidbits inside wrestling that I've ever heard in my life. And I agree with you. Yes, when people are having kids, they get injuries or beat up really bad, so they have that 6 months off or whatever. That's perfect, and that's why we have you on here, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, we had ads on the Shaq fight on Wednesday when he was at AEW, and he was minus $5, and everyone was taking Cody Rhodes. But if you haven't seen Shaq get put through the table, it was fantastic. I got to give Shaq all the love. But here's an inside tidbit when it comes to wrestling. Shaq went to the table. Cody Rhodes is on top of him. You see Shaq go like that, that's telling the wrestler, I'm okay. We can move on. Normally, when they don't feel a tap, they usually whisper or say something. But the end of it, when they were trying to put Shaq in the ambulance, and Shaq was too big for the ambulance, we had to curl up his legs and shut the door. Shaq was okay going through the table.
Oh yeah. That was great to see too, because that's a big man.
Yes.
And Cody is awesome at his job.
Yes.
I mean, I think Cody is one of the best wrestlers in the wrestling entertainment business today.
Yeah, and Shaq said afterwards, I think yesterday, he said, "Hey, you know what? I do have some bumps and bruises from that." And he's like, yeah, people wrestling is AKA somewhat fake, but you have to be.
Oh yeah.
In
100%.
I mean, in WWE, the female champion, she got kicked in the face and she rolled the wrong way, and you can see 3 of her teeth fly through the air. So
it's real. It's real, folks. All right. So real quick, this is Combat Zone. Doc Sports Picks. Do you guys have somebody that is the UFC guru, or is that you too?
I take care of the UFC over there. We have a couple guys that also does. I'm the only one I think that over there that does actually UFC, Bellator, boxing, and stuff like that. So most of the other guys just do UFC, and most of the other guys have another guy that gives them their plays, and so they think it's their plays, but it's actually someone else's. So, but it's all me. I don't have ghost riders, ghost handicappers. Everything I do comes in my – now, some of my writing, the wife has to look at it and proofread it. But I do have a Midwest education, so sometimes it shows up in my writing.
Means you're smart as hell, especially for being out west. Awesome.
Thank you.
Hey, Raphael, let everybody know where to find you.
You can find me over at mybookie.ag. You can find me over at docsports.com. You can find me on Instagram at Raphael Esparza. You can also find me on Twitter at VSI DocSports.
And guys, check out his Instagram because his Instagram is dropping daily free picks, and he's also got a ongoing poll that he does every day. What are we at? Are we fading it, or are we going with?
I think it's split right now. The fade was they lost 3 in a row, but then they won last night. So it's I usually try to keep it up to that. You know, it's been very close all 2021. We haven't had not one big run. I think the biggest was like 6-0. Or something like that. We haven't had like we closed out last year where I think it lost like 15 in a row. So I'm waiting for that really, really long fade or a run pull because I bet them. I mean, if I see a trend, I bet it.
Well, don't blame you. Really quick, last thing, very, 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 very far into the future, Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. What do you think the odds will be for that?
I thought I saw something. I don't know if we put it up or yet, but I mean, I think Fury will be favorite just because he's just a big guy. He has a long reach. He could take a punch. We've all seen that he's been knocked down and actually come back and win fights. So I think we see Fury fight twice this year. I would not be shocked if we see him fight early in the summer, and then we see him fight maybe to close out the year or to see something like that. So we will see Tyson Fury. I think I saw maybe close to $2 on Tyson Fury and Joshua plus 170. But Joshua's got a very small chin. Keep an eye out for the heavyweight division in boxing. It's going to be very interesting this year.
Yes, I agree. Tyson gets 2 wins this year. Does he retire?
I do think he has 1 or 2 more years left in boxing.
There you go, folks. We hear it from the Vegas man himself, Raphael Esparza. Thank you, sir, for joining me and co-hosting Combat Zone tonight, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on Friday nights. You can catch this guy and myself Monday nights at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time for Bet Your Ass with Raphael Esparza. Raphael, as always, thank you, sir. It's been a blast. I love talking fighting with you. Maybe you'll have you come on here more often.
Take it easy. Have a fantastic weekend and enjoy your happy Friday.
Hey, you know what? It is what it is. But just remember, folks, don't bet what you don't have. Raphael, we'll see you Monday night. See everybody, tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Super Kicking It with Steven. BWSports1.com for all the happenings. And we are out.